James Comey, the man who once ran the FBI, is now under arrest. But here's the twist. While headlines scream scandal, CNN and MSNBC are quietly celebrating. Why? Because this legal drama isn't just about the law, it's about ratings, influence, and a media spectacle that could change everything. Stick around, we're breaking down what the networks aren't telling you. Musical note: music. The once powerful head of the FBI, James Comey, now finds himself facing a dramatic fall from grace. According to breaking news, he's been indicted and arrested on multiple charges, including lying to Congress. Headlines are exploding with the story, leaving many to wonder what comes next. You might assume that CNN and MSNBC would be reeling from this shocking development. Surprisingly, reports suggest the opposite is happening behind the scenes. Insiders describe a buzz of excitement in these network studios. Why? Because Comey, ironically, has become a ratings magnet, just the figure these channels need to compete with Fox News. For them, it's not just scandal, it's an opportunity to survive, and maybe even thrive. Social media reflects this sentiment in real time. One account boasting 1.3 million followers chimed in, "This is exactly what I voted for." Public reaction is as varied as it is intense, with some viewing Comey's arrest as a long-awaited reckoning. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we deliver news days ahead of the mainstream media. Today, we're uncovering the reasons behind CNN and MSNBC's behind-the-scenes excitement over Comey's arrest. On the surface, they preach outrage, democracy at risk, and the urgency to fight back. Yet beneath the headlines, a different story emerges, one about ratings, influence, and media strategy. According to commentator Mays Moore, just one day after Joe Biden took office, James Comey was already calling for Trump to be imprisoned. Now, with Comey himself under legal scrutiny, the narrative has shifted dramatically. Let's examine how this twist could reshape the media landscape. Here we are again with James Comey, the former FBI director, now officially under arrest. If you tuned in expecting just another political rant, think again, we're going deeper into the way legacy media shapes its narratives. Some argue that Comey should be barred from future public service, with local prosecutors in New York pursuing him for alleged fraud long before he ever held any official office. Lock him up for the missteps he made along the way, but don't let him occupy a central stage in national life, right in the middle of the nation's efforts to heal under President Joe Biden. This, they say, is not about partisanship, it's about keeping a controversial figure from dominating the public spotlight. Yet, for many, Comey represents the exact opposite. Critics call him a hack, driven by TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, unable to move past his firing by former President Trump. But beyond the politics, there's something more telling about Comey. He loves the camera. Truly, he cannot resist it. Like a mosquito drawn to a glowing bug zapper in the dark, he will do whatever it takes to get in front of it, regardless of the cost. And now, as legal trouble looms, Comey's instinct hasn't changed. Instead of letting attorneys quietly handle the process, he releases yet another video statement. Calm and quiet? Not his style. The former FBI director wants the spotlight, wants the camera, and wants everyone watching. His story, it seems, will continue to be as much about media theater as it is about the law. Talk about narcissism and hubris, here's James Comey front and center once again. But before we dive into why his situation matters so much to CNN and MSNBC, let's look at what he's saying in his own words. Comey delivered a dramatic video message, insisting that his family has long understood the cost of standing up to Donald Trump. "We will not live on our knees, and you shouldn't either," he declared. Quoting someone close to him, he said, "Fear is the tool of a tyrant," adding that he's not afraid and hopes the public isn't either. His appeal was part pep talk, part rallying cry. Stay engaged, stay vigilant, and vote like your country depends on it, because, he said, it does. Despite expressing heartbreak for the Department of Justice, he voiced full confidence in the federal judicial system and maintained his innocence, closing with, "Let's have a trial." The stage is set for what Comey himself calls trial time. For years, Americans have watched accusations of lawfare play out in headlines, legal and political battles waged across the country. Now, many expect this case to reveal what's been hidden, potentially shifting public opinion. Fox News has long framed these developments as a win for its narrative, but ironically, CNN and MSNBC see the same moment as an opportunity. Why? Their ratings have been scraping bottom for months. This high-profile case gives them a fresh storyline, a chance to grab attention, build audience trust, and perhaps even reclaim a portion of the viewership they've lost. Comey, once a controversial figure, is now an unexpected ratings lifeline. Even respected journalist Catherine Herridge has weighed in. Known for her unflinching reporting across multiple networks, and for irritating both political sides, Herridge is seen as a rare straight shooter. She reported that the indictment against Comey was ready to go, with all evidence in place, calling it anything but a shaky case. Herridge's reputation for fairness gives her words weight, making this development even harder for either side to dismiss. In short, this isn't just a legal drama. It's a media moment, one that could reshape how the country sees not just Comey, but the networks covering him. According to multiple reports, this is not a shaky criminal case. Critics of former U.S. Attorney Eric Seibert allege that he had been blocking or slow-walking the charges. That changed when U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan stepped in and removed those barriers. Meanwhile, Director Cash declassified an FBI leak investigation codenamed Archives, which exposed James Comey's alleged role in authorizing media leaks, either through his FBI subordinates or via his Columbia Law School professor, who reportedly had special government employee (SGE) status. To be clear, Comey still has the presumption of innocence. These revelations only allege wrongdoing at this stage. And I'm not here to predict legal outcomes. I'm not a lawyer or a pundit telling you whether Comey will ultimately be found guilty or innocent. But what I do know is how the media operates, and that's where this story takes on an even bigger dimension. Many people tuning in may not fully remember who James Comey is or why his name still sparks controversy. So it's worth pausing to understand the stakes. Comey was a towering figure during a politically explosive era at the FBI. His arrest and indictment are more than just another headline, they are a seismic moment for both politics and media. And this is where CNN and MSNBC come in. Both networks have been struggling in ways that would have been unimaginable a few years ago. Ratings have plunged so dramatically that their parent companies have effectively cut them loose. CNN, once part of Warner Brothers, has been spun off into a separate entity. MSNBC has gone through a similar process. Think of it like this: the parent companies kicked them out of the house. Now these networks are on their own, desperate for a story big enough to bring viewers back. Enter James Comey. His legal troubles aren't just a courtroom drama, they are a ratings opportunity. For CNN and MSNBC, this case could be a lifeline. For viewers, it's a rare chance to watch the media, politics, and justice system collide in real time. So what does kicked out really mean? Both CNN and MSNBC were previously under the umbrella of large media conglomerates, CNN under Warner Brothers and MSNBC under NBC Universal or Comcast. Due to declining ratings and financial struggles, these parent companies spun them off into independent entities. MSNBC, for instance, is now set to operate under a brand new company called Versant. Both networks are struggling and desperately searching for stories that can boost their viewership. To understand why this matters, let's look at how networks handle breaking news and the impact it has on ratings. According to TV Insider, reported by Martin Holmes, Nielsen ratings following the tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk illustrate the divide. Fox News averaged 3 million total viewers and 418,000 in the key demo, representing a 55% increase in total viewers and a 155% increase in the demo. This spike shows that Fox's audience was fully engaged with the coverage of the event. Meanwhile, MSNBC struggled in the same period, averaging only 867,000 total viewers and 75,000 in the demo. This disparity highlights the challenge the network faces. While the news cycle creates spikes for engaged audiences, MSNBC is still struggling to capture attention in a meaningful way. For these networks, a high-profile story, like the James Comey indictment and arrest, represents not just news, but a potential lifeline to regain relevance and rebuild ratings. By connecting these dots, it becomes clear why CNN and MSNBC might approach the Comey story with more intensity than it seems on the surface. It's about survival in a competitive media landscape where ratings dictate not just profit, but the ability to influence the national conversation. In the aftermath of major news events, what really matters for networks is the demo, key viewer demographics. Fox News didn't just lead, it more than quadrupled MSNBC in the demo, and CNN wasn't far behind either, roughly 4 times ahead of its struggling competitor. CNN drew 112,000 viewers in the demo and 615,000 total primetime viewers, while MSNBC lagged even further behind. Even during tragic events, the ratings battle is relentless. While only a small fraction of the population, about 10 or 15%, may take a ghoulish interest in such stories, Fox's dominance in viewership underscores the urgent pressure facing CNN and MSNBC. Now spun off from their parent companies, these networks must find ways to compete independently. Survival depends on grabbing attention and boosting ratings, especially after being consistently outperformed by Fox. Enter James Comey, a former FBI director who loves the camera. Networks thrive on personalities who crave the spotlight, and Comey's arrest and indictment present exactly that. A high-profile trial that could dominate the news cycle for months, if not longer. For CNN and MSNBC, he's not just a news figure, he's a ratings opportunity. As journalist Gunther Eagleman reports, MSNBC is reportedly struggling to manage the meta-narrative surrounding Comey's indictment. Behind the scenes, personalities at these networks must play the ratings game strategically, enrage, excite, and engage their viewers so they remain invested throughout the trial, potentially spanning 6 months or more. In other words, this isn't just legal news, it's a prolonged media spectacle designed to keep audiences hooked. The strategy is clear. Networks need to stoke anger so viewers will keep returning, day after day, for every update. The more invested the audience becomes, the more likely they are to tune in for weeks or months, especially as the James Comey trial unfolds. Executives behind the scenes understand this all too well. Comey's legal troubles are ratings gold, and for some, could even be a career-saving lifeline. MSNBC's coverage reflects this approach. Online reactions are highlighted on screen, including one mega account with 1.3 million followers posting, "This is exactly what I voted for." Also, "Dear James Comey, retribution is coming." The platform displayed the comment without revealing the account itself, strategically selective in information dissemination. Why? The networks know that if viewers can identify the source, they might read more and potentially reconsider their own positions, diluting the intended emotional effect. This approach underscores how CNN and MSNBC operate in this ratings-driven environment. They carefully curate what viewers see, framing it to maximize outrage and engagement while controlling the narrative. The goal is simple: keep viewers emotionally invested, turning occasional watchers into daily consumers of network content. At the same time, the networks continue to deploy politically charged labels. Terms like MAGA are applied repeatedly, shaping perception while signaling alignment with or opposition to specific political identities. Audience, it's not just news coverage. It's a continuous emotional experience designed to generate sustained attention and ensure that the networks remain relevant in a fiercely competitive media landscape. The networks have increasingly begun associating the term MAGA with violent imagery, phrases scrawled on weapons or casings used in deadly attacks. This tactic equates an entire political movement with acts of brutality, and it's a game many believe is dangerous. Linking MAGA to violence may inflame emotions, but it also deepens societal divisions and fosters a climate of suspicion. Yet for CNN and MSNBC, enraging viewers is part of the formula. According to Svetlana Lova, CNN appears to be losing its mind over the potential prosecution of James Comey. Even veteran anchors like Jake Tapper, who once authored a book painting Joe Biden as cray-cray, have entered the fray. Tapper posed the question of whether Donald Trump genuinely cares about the charges against Comey, or simply wants his political opponents prosecuted at any cost. Tapper's response acknowledged a key distinction. While Trump may not be the closest observer of criminal law, prosecutors still have to build an actual case. In other words, unlike political theater, legal proceedings require evidence. What's essential to understand here is how CNN and MSNBC are already shaping the narrative. They are casting Comey as a political martyr, suggesting that the charges are frivolous or silly and that this is yet another example of the orange man weaponizing the system. They aren't giving their viewers the full scope of what's happening, including credible reports from journalists like Catherine Herridge, who isn't a political pundit but a reporter with a track record of frustrating both sides because she simply follows facts. By highlighting only certain details and downplaying others, these networks are scripting a storyline before the trial even begins. This isn't about presenting a neutral record of events, it's about controlling the emotional arc their audiences will follow for months to come. The reality, as reported by Catherine Herridge, is that this is not a weak case. The evidence exists. Whether James Comey will ultimately be found guilty remains to be seen. Herridge herself is widely regarded as one of the most serious journalists of our time, credible and meticulous. Yet, mainstream media outlets like CNN and MSNBC are presenting the story as if it were shaky, and that contrast is intentional. Why frame it that way? To enrage and engage viewers. By portraying Comey as an innocent man being unfairly targeted by the orange man, these networks can stir emotion, drawing back audiences who are predisposed to Trump derangement syndrome, TDS. The more angered viewers become, the more likely they are to return daily, tuning in for every update over months, if not a full year. While some on camera may genuinely believe in the narrative they present, the executives behind the scenes are fully aware of the stakes. They understand that high-profile stories drive ratings and influence. For comparison, the tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk sent Fox News viewership soaring, turning the network into a ratings powerhouse. CNN and MSNBC, struggling independently after being spun off from their parent companies, desperately needed a similar opportunity. Enter James Comey, a former FBI director who loves the camera and thrives on public attention. Hubris incarnate, he is exactly the type of figure who can generate engagement and keep audiences glued to the screen. Networks recognize this and are capitalizing on it. His arrest, indictment, and potential trial provide months of compelling coverage, blending legal drama with media spectacle. The strategy is clear. CNN and MSNBC have found a way to generate content and ride it to survival. This isn't about whether James Comey will be arrested, found guilty, or go to jail. It's about the money and power behind how the story is reported. High-profile figures like Comey, who thrive on camera attention, become ratings gold, giving networks a lifeline as they compete for viewers in a struggling media landscape. Behind the scenes, executives understand the stakes. This is why, despite public outrage or political posturing, there's reason to believe these networks are quietly celebrating the story's potential. It's not about politics, it's about keeping viewers engaged and keeping the business afloat. Thanks for joining us for this midday update on a Friday. We know your time is valuable, and we appreciate that you chose to spend part of your day with us. Today's discussion was more than just a rundown of headlines. It was about connecting the dots, understanding the forces at work behind the scenes, and seeing the bigger picture that most viewers never get to see. By now, we hope you have a clearer sense of how the strategy of the news media actually operates, how narratives are crafted, and how ratings, attention, and influence all intersect to shape the way stories are presented to the public. It's one thing to watch the news and nod along, but it's another to understand the mechanics and incentives that drive every decision, every segment, and every carefully curated clip that appears on your screen. Let us know in the comments, did it make sense? Did the explanation help clarify what's really happening in today's media landscape? Are you starting to see the patterns, the strategic choices, and the reasons why certain stories are emphasized while others are minimized? Engaging with us in the comments is more than just interaction, it's part of the learning process. When you share your perspective, ask questions, or challenge what you've heard, you're participating in a deeper exploration of media literacy. This is the kind of engagement that helps viewers not only digest information but also critically evaluate it. And that's exactly what we aim to encourage, not passive consumption of news, but active thinking, questioning, and understanding. For those of you who are new to this channel or maybe just tuning in for the first time today, here's what you need to know. We aim to go beyond the surface, beyond the flashy headlines and sensational sound bites. Our goal is to give you insight into why things are presented the way they are and what the broader implications are. In today's example with networks like CNN and MSNBC, it's not just about James Comey being indicted or arrested, it's about how the networks use high-profile stories to drive engagement, how they manage their audience's emotions, and ultimately, how they influence perception. Understanding this helps viewers see the media ecosystem not as a neutral conveyor of facts, but as a dynamic environment where ratings, and strategy intersect. For more updates, stay tuned. We have another video dropping at 4:30 p.m. Eastern and then again at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, giving you multiple opportunities to stay informed throughout the day. We provide fresh content every day, including weekends, because staying engaged with the evolving media landscape is important. Information doesn't stop at 5 p.m. on a Friday, and neither do we. Our goal is to make sure you have the context, clarity, and tools to understand what's really happening, so you can navigate news cycles with insight instead of confusion. By following along consistently, you'll start noticing trends, patterns, and strategies that are invisible to the casual viewer. And now, before we sign off, let's take a lighter moment. While today's discussion focused on serious topics, media strategy, political drama, and high-profile trials, it's always important to remember balance. Questions about Kevin Apollo, Greek gods, and pop culture aside, the key takeaway is this: keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep having fun. Life is not just about analyzing headlines and dissecting ratings. It's about curiosity, exploration, and enjoyment. Whether you're fascinated by media strategy, politics, or pop culture, approach every topic with an inquisitive mind. Ask questions, dig deeper, and don't take surface-level narratives at face value. Engagement doesn't stop with just understanding the news. It extends to every aspect of your intellectual and personal growth. The curiosity that drives you to understand media strategy is the same curiosity that can fuel exploration of history, science, philosophy, and even mythology. Yes, even Greek gods like Apollo and Athena. These stories, while seemingly unrelated to politics or news, teach critical lessons about culture, human behavior, and storytelling. They remind us that narratives, whether in news media or myth, have power. They shape perception, inspire action, and influence how we understand the world. So as you go about your day, remember to stay curious and engaged. Pay attention not only to the news itself but also to the context behind it. Think critically about why certain stories are emphasized, why certain voices are highlighted, and why the framing matters. Combine that with moments of levity, pop culture, mythology, humor, and shared experiences, and you have a richer, more balanced perspective on life and information. We appreciate you stopping by our channel today, and we hope this session helped you connect the dots and understand the underlying currents shaping today's headlines. By continuing to engage, comment, and reflect, you're not just a viewer. You're an active participant in the conversation, capable of seeing through the noise and understanding the strategies at play. So thank you again for joining us for this midday update. Keep following along, keep questioning, keep learning, and most importantly, keep having fun along the way. Knowledge, curiosity, and joy don't have to be mutually exclusive. They can coexist and even enhance one another as you navigate the complex world of news, media, and culture.